Howdy, 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 my name is Sasuke, and this is an update video. The reason I'm using this picture while I start the video is relevant to something I might say in the video, but for now, just ignore it. So, this is an update video about some of the webcomics I've not been covering lately, and also just, the reason there hadn't really been any videos this week is because I have slept like crap every day since last Wednesday. But today I decided I wanted to push through and do some videos anyway. But first I decided to check on some of the stuff I haven't covered in a while to see whether or not it's feasible for me to come back to it. And that taught me that there's some stuff I need to address about them. So, I'm going to do them in order of the days that they happen. Which brings us to house pets. The initial reason I had stopped doing house pets was a combination of forgetting about it and the fact that there's other people doing Let's Reads of house pets on YouTube that the creator actually supports, which feels a little So it's like, if the creator's supporting the one, should I even really be doing mine? The other reason I stopped doing house pets is because the person who asked me to do house pets started stalking me. So I'm not particularly inclined to continue doing house pets. Yeah, so relevant to that, I might be changing my YouTube username. My YouTube username might be changed to something that's close to a username I use on other things. As I had stated when I made a Twitter account for the YouTube and then proceeded to never really use it, if you find my personal social media, leave it alone. Because none of my social media is tied to my YouTube. That's just stuff I use myself for talking to my friends and retweeting stuff that YouTube does not agree with. So I'm gonna say it one more time. Leave my personal social media alone. Okay? Okay. Moving on. Dreamkeepers. So a while back, Dreamkeepers had their, as you can see, their successful Indiegogo comic. And the Volume 5 is still not on the website to be read. It sounds like Volume 5 is not going to go up until they've finished Volume 6. And in the meantime, it's still on their Patreon, which I'm not a member of. And even if I was, it would be super sketch for me to be paying for their Patreon just so I can read the comic for free to everybody else. That would be dumb. However, I went to go see how that was going by checking my thumbnails to see where I left off at. And all of my, not thumbnails, my bookmarks. All of my bookmarks were broken because the way the website works is different. And it's all sectioned out now, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4. First off, I did not know that Dreamkeepers was Prelude was broken up into acts like this. Secondly, because of the fact that it's broken up into arcs like that, not acts, arcs, my bookmark was in the middle of one of these arcs. I do not know where the bookmark was. The bookmark no longer works, so I don't actually know which one of these I'm supposed to continue off of to continue reading Prelude. It sounds like I should be reading Vanth and Bast Arc 2, except when I click on that, I don't recognize anything that seems to be happening in it. But I also don't recall having seen anything about Birthday Bashed. But I do remember the lead up into The Pants Are Off Forever, but not the way that it started. So I'm really not sure what's going on here. I probably just need to pick up from Vanth and Bast Arc 1, which I know I have already read, but I don't recognize any of this. Also, there's the holiday things down there. But when you click on the links for these, it now goes to separate pages. Instead, which is why my bookmarks no longer work, because the comics are no longer pages, they are now just flip digital books, which looks really nice, but is also why I no longer know where I was. It even tells you how many pages the arcs have, which is cool. All of that is super handy, except for me knowing where to continue from. So, whenever I come back around to reading Prelude, on the one hand, I might be reading stuff I've already read, but on the other hand, means I have more content for Dreamkeepers at some point. Just not Volume 5, because as the latest book will update online for free as the next title nears completion. Also, they are working on a game now. There's the board game, and they're working on the video game. Oh, there's a sample? Where does that go? It goes to Google Drive. I will look into that later. I'm not hardly going to try to download it to Google Drive right now, because I'm recording and my computer might have a little bit of a stroke if I do that. Alright, so, next up, get out of here. Two Kinds! I was wondering how long it had been since I last read Two Kinds. You want to know how long it's been since the last time I read Two Kinds? I'm sure the people who've been waiting for it know. The last time I read Two Kinds, the bookmark for where I left off at said 15 years on the net. Now the website says 18 years on the net. It has been 3 years. Which, to be fair to myself, I thought I was never going to come back to it at all, because I thought that I was still on the awkward thing with the boat where the one lady went into heat and how awkward it was reading that out loud. And then I opened my thumbnail, and it turns out I was at the beginning of chapter 10 and I had already finished all of that and didn't even need to be worried about it anymore, and I'm just stupid and forgetful. I was already at chapter 10 and just didn't know. The thing that was making me avoid Two Kinds was already over, and I didn't know, and I am so sorry and stupid. But I'm probably going to start recording this after this update is over. Maybe. It depends on how I feel. I want to try to... Since I didn't do any videos this week, I was thinking of trying to churn out 3 today and uploading all 3 of them today. But if all 3 of them are going to be webcomics that have voice acting that I haven't done in a while, I'm going to rip my throat to shreds halfway through the second one. So, maybe not that many back-to-back. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. All I can confirm is that Two Kinds is coming back. Especially now that I know I'm past the part that I want to be reading. I do want to state the fact that I don't remember anybody's voices I was using. And also, if it's been 3 years since I was doing this and 4 years since I started doing it, that means that I've aged a few years since the last time I've done any of these voices, and for all I know, turning 30 means I can't do them anymore. What I do remember is that I was aiming for Todd Habercorn for Trace's voice. I don't think I was reaching it, because I'm not Todd Habercorn. In my head, it sounds like I made it, but to y'all, I doubt it. So that about does it for Two Kinds, which brings us to Lackadaisy. So, Lackadaisy. A person had asked me my permission if they could translate my comic into their language for other people, and I said yeah after I got confirmation from Tracy. And then they got the animated film going, as I've said before. Since they're going to have real voices soon, it feels like maybe I shouldn't anymore, for the same reason that I will never read the Team Fortress comics on my channel, even though I'd like to. They all have voices that everyone's known for, like, a portion of my whole life. And I can't do any of those voices and won't be trying. It's similar to when I did that one single video of Undertale and then deleted it because it felt super cringe that I kept doing the Papyrus Skeletor voice because that's what everybody does. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. Archive! When I was doing Lackadaisy for the sake of, like, still reading it while there weren't pages yet, I was doing some of the side comics. I don't remember which side comics I've done, but I had someone comment a few weeks ago telling me that there was more Lackadaisy and to do more, which, for one, kind of surprised me that people were even still waiting for me to do more. I would have thought you'd forgotten about me by now. Thank you. On the other hand, I checked to see where I was left off at, and it looks like the last real page of comic I covered that was plot was right here. Stop that. Right here. Which means there's this much more. And depending on how much words there is in that, if I do Lackadaisy today, like right now, I will run out of Lackadaisy plot immediately. Depending on how many words there are, because Lackadaisy has a lot more words than Ava's Demon does, which is why Ava's Demon videos tend to be much shorter now that I know they have chapters. I briefly considered, like, reading the whole of Volume 3 so the video's longer, but again, Lackadaisy has more words, I'd be repeating myself, and I don't even know how far I'd get if I did that. I really don't. But again, just like, for you guys, oh, he's just reading the same stuff he read already. But for me, I don't remember any of this. I don't know what's going on. The only thing I remember is that Rocky has a hole in his head now. That's about it. Also, that Mordecai might be voodoo cursed? Or voodoo blessed? One of those. yeah, stuff is also a thing that I learned from the clips of the Lackadaisy animation that's coming up. At no point had it occurred to me to voice Freckles like he's a grown man. Like, I know he had failed out of the police academy, so he should be a grown man, because you can't get in there if you're not a grown man. But at no point did his actions and personality clue me into the fact that I should be giving him a grown man voice. But also, in my defense, he's a bipedal little adorable cat creature with huge teeth, but usually timid, and I voiced him as such. I'm hoping I can still do the Rocky voice. I don't know, it's been a while. I can't really just try to do the Rocky voice for just random words I'm looking at. It's gotta be words he's saying or it won't work. Me talking about it in this update video is getting me hyped up to get back to reading it, so I guess that's good for you guys, because when I was just staring at it before the update video, I was starting to have a panic attack. But talking about it now to you guys, I'm getting excited to get back into it. So, that's the stuff I had pulled up for thumbnails. But, aside from thumbnails, the 13th anniversary of Homestuck is coming up. And I have quite a lot of Homestuck stuff I never finished, for various reasons. I never finished the epilogue, because it sucks. I never finished, Pester Quest, because it's tied to the epilogue, which sucks. I never finished Hive Swap Act 2, because I was paranoid that it was going to take 13 hours to edit the next video, like the first one did. I don't know why it took 13 hours for that to render. What I do know is that if I had known that the court thing was going to take up that much time, I would not have tried to cram it into that one video, because I started recording at like 2 in the afternoon and finished at like 6 o'clock. So I was considering starting Hive Swap Act 2 over and deleting the video I had already posted. I don't know how many views it had. I don't think anybody's going to give a crap, because it's been at least a year and a half, probably more. But I'd like to come back around to that in smaller chunks than that video was, so that it'll be easier to edit. I also figured out a workaround for if it does try to render for a bajillion hours, but that's besides the point. I think I was using my old computer when I recorded that. That's just how long it's been. I have a new one now. But, the reason I bring all this up is because I was thinking of, over the course of this year's 3 Homestuck days, 4/13, 6/12, and 11/11, I would finally finish off the various Homestuck things I've done. I cannot promise that this will be contained to those 3 days, but I'm certainly intending on it starting on those 3 days. I thought about starting the Homestuck epilogue over from the beginning, and then decided, no, that's dumb, because it'll take it longer than it already is. I'm, I think, halfway through the first half of the epilogue, and then there's still the other half of the epilogue. Pester Quest, I don't know which half of the epilogue the Pester Quest needs. I have seen what happens in Pester Quest related to the epilogue, so it's entirely possible that if the epilogue I'm on right now is what deals with what happens in the end of Pester Quest, I might not even bother with the other half of the epilogue, because it's already been painful enough, and I can't imagine the one that's based in Candy is going to be any better. I don't really even want to do it at all, but like I had someone tell me that the epilogue was going to come up in Pester Quest, and then they apologized. But, like I said, it is my intention to try and mop up the rest of the Homestuck content I never finished. And that will... my aim is for that to start on April the 13th, and to be done by November the 11th. So even if nothing comes out on exactly the 13th, that's the time frame I'm giving myself to get all of the rest of the Homestuck stuff I have done. Homestuck 2 does not exist any more than the fan-made Omega Act. As far as I'm concerned, the Omega Act does not exist, neither does Homestuck 2. Do not ask me for them, they are not happening. So, back to this. Considering changing my YouTube username. leaning towards Moonlit Winnie because that's what I use on my Xbox and my PlayStation and my Discord and whatnot. Don't seek me out on Discord either, because that's also my personal Discord. I do not have a Discord associated with the YouTube channel, because I don't feel like my channel's big enough to necessitate that. But, the username Inachi Sasuke came about from me having a lightsaber fight RP with one of my friends in high school when I was like 16, 17 years old. It's an old username. A username that I no longer mesh with for various reasons that are also not to be spoken of on YouTube. And I, for a very long time, wanted to not go by that anymore. But I wasn't sure if after like however many hundreds of videos I've got on my channel, there's 250 of just the SCP Wiki. So I know there's a lot. But I wasn't sure if just up and changing the name with a, I'm gonna do that now, would cost me subscribers for not warning you guys first, or if you'll just see the new username and not know who the hell is this? I didn't subscribe to this person, I subscribed to Inachi Sasuke. But I straight up no longer feel comfortable using that name, and every time I say it at the beginning of my videos, I flinch a little bit. I'm still going to say howdy, 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 because I got that from the first Toy Story, and I just like saying howdy. It's fun to say. Howdy, 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 my name is... The other thing is, if I change it to Moonlit Winnie, I'm probably not even going to say the Moonlit at the beginning of the videos. I'm probably just going to say howdy, 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 I'm Winnie. So it's like, should I even add the Moonlit in there? And I might, because that makes it easier for what my logo could be, because I really like the moon. And Moonlit Winnie, there's just flip the first letter around and it's the same thing, blah, blah, blah. I haven't thought it all the way through yet. I was thinking about it the other day and thought that it wasn't going to be feasible, but then I saw another YouTuber, Masked Nintendo Bandit, make a video about how he's thinking of changing his username. And he's already got a silver play button, so if he got a silver play button and he's still willing to change his name anyway, I figure it's probably a safe bet for me to do it while I've got 1,100 subscribers instead of over 100,000, which is probably never happening anyway, but that's besides the point. I don't know when I would be doing this. I didn't even know if I could or not. I have confirmed that it's possible pretty easily, actually. And I'm already using Winnie, as my YouTube face anyway, and I also already cover a lot of furry-related comics on my channel. There was actually a few other things I was asked to look at, but since I pulled them up on my phone instead of my computer, I completely forgot about it, and we'll have to go back in there at some point. But that's pretty much the whole gist of this update video, so let's recap. Might be changing my username, leave my personal social media alone, don't stalk me. No more house pets because the person who asked for it was stalking me. Dreamkeepers is up in the air because there's no Volume 5 yet, and I'm not sure where I have to pick up from in Prelude. I got maybe about one more video of prequel before I go back to not having any more content for that. I'm waiting for the next big update to Ava's Demon to see if I can do a whole chapter in the next video of that. I might go back to Lackadaisy because I'm starting to get hyped up about it. I just don't really remember what was going on other than Rocky having a hole in his head and Mordecai being voodoo cursed. Or voodoo blessed. As I'm sure you've noticed, I've been trying to keep to 2 or 3 videos a week instead of 10 like I used to do. I don't think I'm ever getting back to that. At this point, I'm sort of trying to nurse my way back up to 3 as it is. Still working on Cyclonials. I just prefer to do those on Mondays, and I also don't know that I've ever recorded one while at home. But the SCP Wiki, I'm going to be pinballing week to week between actual entries and covering SCP-001. I'm glad that that video doesn't seem to have annoyed anybody for me to repeating myself, and I am enjoying doing it again. I like the little thing I did where I didn't do my outro for suspense purposes, but I'm not going to do that again. The factory just freaks me out so much that it felt like it was worth it to do that. But I know there was someone who's waiting for more Freedom Planet from me. I am intending on coming back to Freedom Planet. The only reason I haven't yet is because I'm not sure what the heck happened with my save file. I'm not sure if I want to bother trying to cover new games as they come out, because people don't really seem to watch those. People like to watch my Let's Reads. I'm still going to do Let's Plays. I just don't think I should bother trying to do Let's Plays of brand new things. Case in point, I got Elden Ring last night, and I considered doing one video about that, just as like, hey, here's what's going on. But I don't really feel like pulling out my capture card and getting everything all hooked up and be tangled in so many wires that something BDSM joke, and then nobody care because I'm not a Dark Souls tuber. There's VaatiVidya and plenty of other people. Given the recent Bloodborne thing, Jacksepticeye is much more of a Souls tuber than I am. I will never be one of those, and there's no point in making you guys suffer through half an hour of me sucking at that franchise. There just isn't. I thought of doing one for Pokemon, but didn't have access to my capture card at the time. So it doesn't really seem like it's worth it for me to do that. Unless somebody wants me to try. Because I also can't, like, I got this game. I can't always just get the game as soon as it comes out. But I know there's the person waiting on Freedom Planet. Freedom Planet 2 does not exist yet. I still want to go back to Oxenfree. I might just have to play that on my own time instead of doing a video series of it, since I keep doing one video and then never coming back to it. I definitely want to, because it's definitely an interesting game, and there's a sequel coming out at some point, and I want to know if they're connected or not. There's 2064 Read-Only Memories, I believe it's called. That game is getting a sequel, like, next month, I think. And I've not beaten that game, and the reason I didn't beat that game is because, again, the annoyances of hooking up capture cards. Because I do have it on Steam, but the Switch version has more content. And I bought the Switch version for that specific reason, but again, pain in the ass to hook that up. And that's why it hasn't happened. Also, not really sure if anybody cares. I enjoy playing these games. It's fun to do the Let's Plays. But since YouTube has decided to make an app for the express purpose of showing me whether or not people actually want to see what I'm having fun doing, it gets depressing. So, yeah, that about covers everything I've got a folder for that I was doing. I have a folder for hiatus that there's not even anything in anymore. I have a folder for cryptids, but didn't get any more cryptids. I was working on a big project where I was just going to talk about various folklore things across the world, but I forgot. So it didn't happen. I don't even think I told you I was going to do it because I didn't trust myself to succeed. Yay! Alright, that about covers everything I had to say. I don't know how many times I've said that and then continued to say more things, but for realsies this time, that about covers it. So, I'm gonna I guess, get this ready to upload it, and then get to work on the real stuff. Later.